What's going on, guys? Welcome to my sports corner. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys 5 fights in the UFC that need to happen next. 5 fights that I'd love to see. Mick Maynard, Sean Shelby, I'm coming for you. Dana White, you need to hire me because these are the best possible fights that could be booked right now. Coming in first, and once again, this is in no particular order. However, first, I got my boy Calvin Kattar, as you see here in the video. I got Calvin Kattar. I'd like to see him matched up with Zabit for a second fight, or I'd like to see him versus Yair Rodriguez. Kattar and Zabit have fought in the past, as we all know. Zabit squeaked out the decision on him. Kattar was putting it on him in that third round. It was a 3-round main event. I believe Volkov or somebody was initially supposed to headline the fight night. It ended up pulling out, so they put Kattar and Zabit into the main event slot. And Zabit, having the bad cardio that he does, made it a 3-round main event. And like I said, Kattar, really made a good of account of himself, I believe. He got beat the first 2 rounds, and then that third round he was really putting it on Zabit. And like I said, I'd like to see Kattar matched up with either Zabit or Yair. I know Zabit and Yair were supposed to fight, and I don't know who pulled out. I want to say it was Yair. However, now Zabit's talking. He wants a title shot or bust. I don't think that's going to happen because you got Chan Sung Jung and Brian Ortega. That fight's coming up next weekend, actually. And I think the winner of that fight will probably slide into a title shot. However, in the meantime, if Zabit wanted to step in and fight Kattar again, and if he wins, I believe he would be able to slide in next after the winner of Ortega, Korean Zombie. I believe he'd be able to slide in and get that next title shot. And vice versa. If Kattar is able to come out and win over Zabit in a 5-round main event, I think he'd slide in right for a title shot. Same thing with Yair. Either one of them, would be able to slide in for the next title shot. As far as like predictions or outlook for this fight, if it is a 5-round main event and not on the main card or co-main of a pay-per-view or a fight night, I would pick Kattar. He's shown in the past he has great 5-round cardio. Coming off of his first main event versus Dan Ige, he beat him pretty easily. Not easily, pretty clearly, I'd say rather. Gave up 1, maybe 2 rounds, depending on how you scored it. Ige showed, that he's a 5-round fighter. And of course, before that, he's coming off the vicious elbow over Jeremy Stephens. John Anik called it a Boston bomb on the commentary. It was pretty funny to me. Probably should have thought about that a little more. But yeah, like I said, man, he just flatlined Stephens. It was a beautiful, beautiful finish. And in that first round, he hit him with a beautiful straight, as you see here in the picture. But yeah, that just really, showed me how intelligent Kattar is. He is a slow starter, but, you can just see that he's just, calculating and lining things up, and it showed. He, hit him with the jab and came over with the rear elbow and just hit him right on the button. And yeah, moving on, we got my boy Cody Garbrandt. I'd like to see him versus the Mariah Sandhagen winner. Of course, I'd like to see this at bantamweight. I know he was scheduled to fight Figueiredo and pulled out of that fight. However, I'd just like to scrap that whole flyweight plans that he has going. I know he said he was promised the next title shot whenever he's healthy. But yeah, let's just forget that. Figueiredo, he's doing his thing down there at flyweight. Let's not go, poke the small bear that he is. Let's stay at bantamweight, because TJ Dillashaw, went down to flyweight in the past and, had to take EPO to, keep his cardio where it was. Let's not deplete ourselves. You already showed in the past that your chin's not the greatest. Let's stay at bantamweight and fight the Mariah Sandhagen winner. He's Garbrandt, that is coming off of that beautiful, beautiful KO over Sun Tzu, just completely wrecked him, as you see here in the picture. Just spun him around. Sun Tzu was done right at the second round. That was a beautiful stoppage. He really, showed a more calculated, patient Garbrandt. And of course, I did predict Mariah to win. So if Moraes doesn't end up winning, that's a fight that I'd like to see. I believe the winner of that would be able to slide in for the title shot after Aljamain Sterling. Hopefully he gets his title shot because I really do believe he deserves it. If Garbrandt was to match up with Moraes, I would actually, go with Garbrandt in that fight, especially if it's a 5-round main event of a fight night or something. I really believe Garbrandt would be able to get it done. I know, he showed a suspect chin in the past. Whenever he gets hit hard, he likes to brawl. However, I think, he's changed, as he showed in that Assunção fight, he's a lot more patient. He showed in the past that he's got 5-round cardio. He schooled Dominic Cruz in their fight. And Moraes has shown in the past that he's, got suspect cardio. So if those two are matched up, I would predict Garbrandt, able to weather the early storm and get the job done by maybe late round stoppage or a decision. And then again, Sandhagen, I think is kind of the same thing. I would predict Garbrandt to win. I think it's just his boxing's a little too slick. He's got a little too much power. Of course, Sandhagen is, good striking on his own. A little different from Moraes. He's got, better cardio than Moraes. However, he's got less, a little less power. And he's a little less, strong than Moraes, I'd say. However, like I said, if Garbrandt was matched up with Sandhagen, I'd actually, like Garbrandt's chances a little more than I would against Moraes. If he was to fight Moraes, I'd be a little worried. I could see him definitely getting clipped, maybe getting knocked out or something. But against Sandhagen, I'd be pretty comfortable with picking Garbrandt. And then the winner of either of those fights would slide in for the next title shot versus Jan or Sterling, whoever's the winner of that fight. Moving on, we got my man, the notorious Conor McGregor. I'd like to see him matched up against Dustin Poirier for the second fight. They've been talking about that one for a while. They were talking about the exhibition match on December 12th. Dana White came out and said he offered them the fight, and McGregor is yet to accept, I believe. Or I'd like to see him matched up with Justin Gaethje. That was another fight that McGregor was talking about. Pre-Rona, pre-Dirty Rona. I'm assuming Gaethje's probably going to lose to Khabib, as everyone that's fought him has. McGregor, Poirier, or Gaethje, either one of those are fine. Winner of either of those fights, I don't know if they'd slide in for a title shot. However, if McGregor beats either Poirier or Gaethje, I'd like to see him slide in next for the title shot. And McGregor versus Poirier or Gaethje, I'm going with McGregor. His striking's too slick. You look at the common opponent between the three, Eddie Alvarez. McGregor completely schooled him. And then Poirier and Gaethje both struggled a little bit with him. Gaethje actually lost. Poirier was in a bad position before Alvarez's dumbass went for the 12-6 elbow. It was a competitive fight regardless with both of them. McGregor came out there and completely schooled him, Poirier, however, let me say that this is a completely different Poirier than the first time they fought. That is McGregor and Poirier. This was, I believe, the first time they fought was back in 2014, so it's been 6 years ago now. This is a lightweight Dustin Poirier. Matter of fact, they could do this fight at welterweight too. I believe, at whatever weight they do it, this would be a number one contenders fight for lightweight. But yeah, like I said, Poirier is a completely different Poirier. But with that being said, I just think McGregor's striking is just a little, too slick. He's too fast, too smart. His footwork's too good. He's just his striking is second to none in that division. Moving on next, I'd like to see Weili Zhang matched up with Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose Namajunas. This is a fight that I believe should have been already made. I don't know if there's a holdup with Zhang, her being in China or what like the travel restrictions are or whatever. But I believe this fight should be next. Namajunas is coming off over the decision win over Andrade. She redeemed herself. Zhang, of course, is coming off that fight of the year to this point over Joanna Champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I scored it for Joanna, but that's neither here nor there. Zhang's still the champion, and I believe, Namajunas should be next. Of course, Namajunas beat Jędrzejczyk twice. Zhang beat her the once, and I believe these two should be fighting each other next. In that fight, I would. That's a tough one for me because Zhang really showed her 5 round cardio. Of course, Namajunas has good cardio, and she's got real slick striking. But there's a very big power difference between the two. Zhang packs some serious power in those fists. She punches like a dude. you know. But if those two are matched up, I would probably favor. Honestly, I'm gonna go Zhang. I see Zhang, hitting the more effective strikes. I know Namajunas is pretty slick. So she could maybe clip her here, clip her there, maybe. But I think Zhang's chin is just too good, and she just packs too much power in her fist. You're looking at the Andrade fight. Andrade is not the greatest striker. Zhang came out there and starched her. Of course, that's MMA math, and it doesn't work that way. But Andrade put some damage on Rose. Of course, Rose ended up outpointing her and getting the decision victory. However, over 5 rounds, I believe Andrade might have been able to get the job done. Depending on how her cardio would have held up. And I believe it's a little bit of the same if Zhang and Rose were to fight. Zhang showed that she's got 5 round cardio. If they were to go the full 5, I just believe Zhang would land the more effective shots. Rose might outland her, but Zhang would definitely land the more impactful shots, and I believe would get the job done. And then moving on next, I got my man Jon Bones Jones going up to heavyweight. I'd like to see him matched up with Overeem, ideally. A lot of people were talking, and they want to see him versus Ngannou or slide right in versus Stipe. I guess I'm fine with either of those. I'm really just, would like to see him at heavyweight. There's been some talk about him versus Izzy. I don't know. That's not a fight I want to see. I'd rather see him move up to heavyweight. Actually, I take that back. I do want to see him versus Izzy. However, I'd rather see him at heavyweight. He's been talking about this for years. And it's just more exciting, versus going back to light heavyweight to fight Izzy. There's what does that accomplish? You're beating a middleweight. But yeah, I'd like to see Jones matched up with Overeem. Nice way to dip his toes into the heavyweight division. And Ngannou's supposed to be fighting Stipe next. So I believe it's a little 4-man tourney right there. The winner of Stipe and Ngannou should be going up against the winner of Jones Overeem. And if Ngannou does get the job done versus Stipe, him versus Jones is a massive fight. That fight would do numbers. That'd be a sick fight. You got the 2 baddest men on the planet in my eyes, going up against one another. If Jones was to get matched up with Overeem, I would definitely favor Jones in that fight. Jones' wrestling is too good. His striking's too good. His striking defense is too good. His fight IQ is too good. And depending on how bulky he gets, I know he's been bulking up a little bit. Getting ready for that move to heavyweight. Depending on how much meat he's able to pack on, I could see him potentially being able to tank down and hold down Overeem and Ngannou. But once again, it's going to come down to how much muscle mass he ultimately ends up adding on. And like I said, Jones, I could definitely see getting the decision over Overeem and then sliding in versus either Ngannou or Stipe next for the heavyweight title. Becoming the heavyweight champ. And if he does move up there and become the heavyweight champ, I really don't think you can argue that he's not the GOAT. You know what I mean? In my eyes, he already is. And if he moves up to heavyweight and accomplishes that, he is undisputed GOAT. However, with that being said, if Jones does beat Overeem and then moves on to the heavyweight title shot, if Jones is fighting Ngannou, that's a fight I would favor Ngannou in, honestly. I think Ngannou's just got too much power in those fists. I don't think anybody on earth could beat Ngannou right now. However, it's a different story with Stipe. Stipe, of course, coming off over the 2 wins over DC back to back. However, I just believe Jones, he's not DC. He's a completely different fighter, and I believe his fight IQ is just too good for Stipe. His tool set, he's got the reach advantage. He'd probably be the bigger guy. I want to say his wrestling's better. I don't know if his striking's better. His striking defense is definitely better. I don't know if his striking offense is better. I'd say that he's probably got an advantage in the fight IQ department as well. But yeah, I would I would probably favor Jones, probably in a decision, I'd say, over Stipe, and then if he was to fight Ngannou, that was just really tough for me to pick Jones in that fight. So I'd probably go Ngannou by probably early stoppage, if not maybe a decision. Nah, who am I kidding? There's no way Ngannou's getting a fucking decision. I'd go Ngannou by stoppage. And yeah, let me know what your predictions would be for those fights that that I made up. I should be the UFC matchmaker here because those are 5 great fights. Let me know what other matchups you'd like to see. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy my matchups. Subscribe as well. And yeah, see you guys next time.